This is Governor Bob Ehrlich. Good day, doctors.
George Allen here. Good day, doctors.
Go!
You're watching Dr. Politics.
It is Good Friday, everyone. We are running into a long weekend. Hopefully, many of you people aren't stuck on the Bay Bridge, headed over to Ocean City, because it is the start of chicken necklace season. And when you're in Queenie, it's kind of different to wave to Cody Leach. So he's out there. So do not forget to wave. Also, busy week this past week we've had, but Dr. Jeff did send us a report from his expedition. He is looking for the Biden papers. And that is Jeff on the Hot on the Trails with Biden papers. Old Hunter has been hiding documents all over the place, so he's out on the long Appalachian Trail looking for them.
Yeah, what are we averaging like once a month with Jeff lately or something?
No, he was on fairly consecutive. He's also got business travels and stuff like that. So
I'm saying is like he's so busy, we don't see him that often.
No, we don't. And Dr. Shepard will be joining on when he joins on, because Dr. Shepard is on his own timeline. But Jeff will be back next week. It's been a crazy week. Donald Trump wasted no time attacking Ron DeSantis with saying that that was a failure to launch, when actually the problem was too many people were in Twitter Spaces. The DeSantis supporters broke the internet.
Yeah, and I thought this was there he is.
Sorry.
That part was interesting to me because Twitter Spaces we talked about lunch. That's an audio format, so it doesn't need the same kind of bandwidth as a video.
Yeah,
and yet they had a lot of issues with it to handle everybody who wanted to tune in on that. So it should really be said that DeSantis's launch was successful in the sense that they just were not prepared for the onslaught. But Elon Musk, for him, that's not the way you want to do this. He's trying to redefine Twitter, and he wants to have these Twitter Spaces, get these candidate launches, make them look like a legitimate news organization almost. And then this happens. This
didn't help. This did not help.
No, it doesn't at all. So that's when the besides Trump, the liberals jump on it too, because Musk went from the darling of the liberals to one of the most hated people now, right?
And he's also probably going to be hated by Donald Trump pretty soon too.
That's true.
I must say I didn't see any of the problems because I tuned in when it was already done at like 10 o'clock. I watched it on YouTube and I thought it was good, but the Twitter universe and the social media just blew up with all.
What do you think of their new ads they're running? Old man DeSantis wanted to had a farm. He had a tax here, tax there. Ron DeSantis tax is what they're calling him now, because he wanted that national flat tax. And I must say, so look funny.
But, I don't know. Is that a good strategy to attack DeSantis on taxes?
As a Republican,
a lot of people are tired of taxes.
Yeah.
They want
Florida people go to Florida because they want low taxes.
Yeah. As a Republican, I do not want to pay I think Social Security should be optional. I think we need to reform Medicare, and we really need to do something about the tax. I don't agree with the 23% sales tax, but a flat tax needs to be done smartly. And I think Steve Forbes had a decent idea back in the 90s for a flat tax. Bill Clinton also had an idea for a flat tax, but it was how much money did you make this year? Line one, line two, send it in.
Be on a postcard.
Yeah, that was Bill Clinton's. Well, Steve Forbes was, I think the Steve Forbes or Phil Graham's plan of the 80s was eliminating state taxes, and it would just be one federal sales tax, so states would not be allowed to do a sales tax.
Remember Jerry Brown? Jerry Brown had a flat tax proposal. Remember that?
Jerry Brown wanted a flat tax. That is so kooky. That
And he made
Jerry
headway
Brown?
in the Democrat primary.
really,
He made headway with it.
really was this? Which time was this? In 1977, 1980, or?
Well, in '92, didn't he run in '92?
Yes, he did. That's when he only wanted it. Yeah, 92. That was when he was only taking $1 from everyone. He was only taking $1 from everyone. So, and I think what do you call?
But I will just say, in the case of, I would just add, in the case of Trump and DeSantis, Trump, who Trump feels was a threat is based on who he attacks. So when he welcomes someone into the race, he knows this person is not going to hurt me. It's probably going to help me because he wants more people in. So when he turns his ire on someone, that means he thinks that someone is a threat to him.
Yep. And I think we win with Ron DeSantis with ease. I think we win with President Trump too, but we will have another 4 years of. Then again, the media is going to do that to Ron DeSantis too. It's not like I know everybody seemed to just woke up in 2017 and said, "Oh my God, the press is so biased against Republicans." Hello, they did that to President Eisenhower. They did that to President Nixon. They did it to President Ford for the 18 months he was president. They did it to President Reagan, President Bush, President Bush, and they did it to President Trump. It's like all these people go, oh, they're saying, well, remember they called President Bush a war criminal and how they wanted to have him arrested at The Hague, and people try to charge the White House to try to do a citizen's arrest. Like
remember their slogan, Bush lied, people died.
Yeah, Obama lied and our ambassador died. That never caught on by MSNBC, I guess. They never picked that one up.
But I think DeSantis would be a better matchup. Trump could win. I'm not saying he can't win, but it'd be closer.
Well, I think we win with any of our guys. I think it's anybody but Biden at the end of the day. We've got the best candidates. Tim Scott beats Joe Biden. Vice President Pence beats Joe Biden. I think who else is running on our side? Nikki Haley. She beats Joe Biden.
I think Vivek beats him.
I think so too. And I'll say, if only person who probably couldn't beat Joe Biden would be Rand Paul. If Rand Paul gets in, Rand Paul could not win. Then again, Rand Paul is a neo-isolationist, so he is who he is.
But with Biden at 35% approval rating, I mean, there's no excuse for losing to him.
I know, but we should not have. Mitt Romney should not have lost in 2012 either.
Yeah.
But
but we know. I mean, there's still that sentiment out there, right? I mean, that in terms of anti-Trump sentiment, that you put Trump against Biden, maybe Trump wins this time, but it would still wind up being a close race because the Democrats will still frame things around Trump, especially. I don't know how much the E. Jean Carroll thing or any other all the legal issues that surround Trump, wind up hurting him in the end because he seems to have a little bit of a Teflon exterior to a lot of these things. With what happens there, but I think the Democrats almost would prefer to run against Trump because they figure they can make a case for him.
Exactly.
Trump can be somewhat unhinged it would be much tougher against DeSantis, so they want to paint DeSantis into all this Florida, nonsense with Disney and all this other garbage. But
Well, even Donald Trump's attacked Ron DeSantis.
he attacked him on COVID,
Yeah,
comparing
I mean,
him to De Blasio or something, right? I mean, it's just
yeah. Did he say? Did he say this, or did I hear from some comedian saying that President Trump said Cuomo is a better mayor during COVID than?
Yeah, it's in essence to that effect. I mean that that he did a worse job.
Are we seeing the true colors of President Trump right now? Seems like he's abandoning the culture wars by saying, "Oh, leave Disney alone."
Yeah.
I mean, David, your old boss and my old boss, Paul Weimer, we know who he'd be supporting. Would not be. I don't think he'd be supporting President Trump.
No, I agree, and I think to the argument that DeSantis is too conservative, which some of them are trotting out, just seems like a weird argument in a Republican primary.
I mean, can anybody really be too conservative? I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's in a Republican primary. You just help him out. I would think it's not going to hurt him if you say he's.
Yeah, and here's the thing: 48% of the country thinks Joe Biden is hurting, and this is 40%. I mean, 40% of the country thinks Joe Biden's hurting. What he's doing is hurting the economy and hurting families. While the same people asked, only 37% say that Donald Trump's policy hurt families. I mean, this is like
that's probably within a margin of error there.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's probably.
It's pretty much. There's pretty much a dead heat between those two on these issues.
No. I said 48 and 37. It's almost like a 10-point swing.
Yeah, oh, I thought it was 40.
I thought you said 40.
Yeah, I thought it was
40. No. 48 and 37.
Okay, that's a little bit better.
Yeah.
But at the end of what it comes down to is the fact that, and one thing we did learn, okay, this is just something we need to understand. What did we learn from the 2022 elections? Parents hate President Donald Trump more than they love their kids.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's a reality we have to fight. We have to work with, and I think Governor DeSantis doesn't have those, we don't have the same qualms, so to speak,
Yeah, I think Trump sort of got a ceiling there. Big orange man's bad. There was an interview with one of these millennials that voted for Biden, and she was asked by Martha Raddatz, so what's Biden done? How's he been good? She couldn't think of anything, but she said she voted for him. She said, well, why'd you vote for him? Because he beat Donald Trump. It was the only thing she could come up with. So there's a certain ceiling there, I think.
The Democrats can only go so far with that messaging, right?
Yeah, remember we campaigned on hate too, and that didn't work. Remember we tried that in '96. Bill Clinton bad. That didn't work for us.
Well, that's true, but in Clinton's case, he's kind of a lovable rogue, and there's a certain amount of people that realize he's kind of sleazy. But
and now it's like he's too right wing for the modern Democrat Party. He wouldn't be welcome in. He probably wouldn't be welcomed at their convention. Actually, all John Kennedy or RFK for that matter.
Well, one thing that was interesting in the poll is that Robert F. Kennedy, I don't think he's getting any airtime, but he's looking much better than I thought. It was like at 18% or whatever, but that's still pretty significant this early if you're the challenger at 18% to an incumbent and you get no airtime.
Isn't Kennedy asking for? He wants to do a Twitter space too now.
I think so.
He does.
I think it's great. This is so funny.
Yeah,
to watch this.
Hopefully, it won't be small.
I mean, I think
his grandkids will have to explain to him what Twitter Spaces is first. I think.
I didn't even know anything about it. I'm so technological.
Well, I kind of agree with you. Go along with you there too, Dave. And just that Twitter Space has been around for a while, but I didn't know that anybody was still using it. I thought they had launched that a while back, and people jumped all over that. They basically created that because Clubhouse was basically the first iteration of Twitter Spaces, and Clubhouse attracted a whole lot of people, but they also didn't have a lot of funding. And then Twitter decided, we can do, we already have the infrastructure. We can go ahead and do an audio only thing. And, you don't really have to do a whole lot extra there.
Maybe we should do a simulcast of Twitter Spaces next week.
Clubhouse on that. But, I wasn't sure about what the attraction was for something that was an audio only type of a thing.
It was a throwback to the old Larry King radio days. Remember Ross Perot announced on his radio show? It was a throwback to the Larry King era.
We're such a visual medium. That's why
Yes, we
to me
are.
it seems like it's interesting that DeSantis, went with this Twitter Spaces to launch the campaign in what people are looking for. They're looking for video clips and they want to be able to see that. And he went really kind of old school with the audio.
Yeah, he's a
And I'll
good-looking
tell you-
guy. He could easily get up and give a speech and flag in the background.
Well,
and-
next week he's going to have 3 kickoffs: Iowa, South Carolina, New Hampshire. We'll see. That'll be the real test. I mean, this is just that's when we hope like they'll have a full crowd of people and stuff like that. And remember, he raised a lot of money.
Yeah,
For one day he raised over $8 million.
Well, can I make a confession? I made a
What's that?
contribution not last night or
So
the
did
night
I.
of it.
So did I.
Yeah, I contributed to them. So not much, but I contributed something. So
I did, and then I'll be doing another one and another one.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I mean, the announcements are part of it is meant to bring in money and get people excited and get them a kind of a kickstart and see where.
And remember, Enron's also a thing too, so we got to keep that in mind too.
So
well, maybe Elon Musk can help him out too. I don't know.
You guys, that's what you got to do. Like, it's kind of like you're what is it? A step IRA. You kind of got to do step with campaigns too.
Well, I do. I mean, I guess part of the lure of Twitter Spaces, in a sense, is that you're doing it with Elon, and Elon has a massive following. Not everybody loves Elon, but he's got a massive following. So, in that sense, you've got kind of this built-in audience of people who are curious and they want to know what Elon's doing. And if he's interviewing these candidates, whether or not they're Republican, Democrat, or whatever, people are going to tune in because Elon. It's just. That's all you need is Elon.
Yeah,
I'll tell you this. I will tell one thing about. I'll tell Elon this. I just want my name back for my Twitter handle. I just want that back. Somebody hacked it years ago, and I want it back. That's all. Tell me what I need to do to get it back. I really need to get that back. I think it just. But I spent like a good part of this morning trying to get that done.
What Twitter handle was that one?
Dwight Patel.
Dwight Patel.
Yeah.
You still have Dwight's World or whatever?
Yes, I do. I still have Dwight's World. I have Dwight Nation. I have Dwight from Moco. I've got Maryland Pizza Club. We got.
I think I got in early enough where I could probably have my choice of handles, and for some reason I picked Virginia VA Gentleman 1. I probably didn't even need to add the 1. I could have just been VA Gentleman or Virginia Gentleman. And now I see there are other people that are VA Gentleman 37, VA Gentleman. I probably could have just been early enough. I didn't lack ambition. I just went with VA Gentleman 1.
Yeah, you could have been the original Virginia.
Virginia Gentleman.
Is there one now?
Great. Huh?
Is there one now? Is there a Twitter / Virginia VA Gentleman?
I think so. Yeah. But I got it years ago. I never really used Twitter. I never understood Twitter. I'm on it. I've got just a handful of followers. I don't have much, but I never really got into the Twitter thing. And whenever I'm on, there's people arguing, just crazy people arguing.
Well, that's part of the problem with Twitter. I mean, I think Musk wants to change that to a degree, but it gets to be kind of this cesspool, and sometimes you want if you take the bait of the liberals, particularly when they're arguing with you, it just becomes a rabbit hole, and you wind up wasting a lot of time, and Musk, I know he wants he wants to trying to monetize more of Twitter, and he took away those blue checks from a lot of people that they had, Twitter spent all that time verifying, and then you can basically buy your verification. But that created a whole another issue of people basically trying to buy credibility. And
I wonder if I could get my own Twitter handle, get the blue check mark, and say I am Chancellor Gowron of the Klingon Empire. I bet someone's already got that though.
I don't think it doesn't seem like they're willing to take your $8 a month or whatever it is for just about anything. I think. You know,
Yeah.
they'll take your money and not worry about who you really are.
And they'll name a star after you in the sky, and they'll throw that in.
Yeah.
And you can also get a title too. You get a title,
Right.
but that's
But one of the things though, I mean, for the Democrats, if beyond maybe running against Trump and seeing how that goes, I think if you're Democrats, you're you've got a couple things that you might get some mileage out of, because you've been banging the drum so hard on that. And one is just, the conservative Supreme Court or the radical right Supreme Court that has some sway with some segment of the population, the Democrats, the liberals.
yeah. But didn't like that radical right winger, what's her name, Tajay Brown or whatever her name is, the newest member. I can't think of her name.
Ketanji
Katashi,
Jackson.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Katashi Jackson, yeah. And Sonia Sotomayor and Elaine Kagan, did they all vote with weren't those radical right wingers that voted with the majority past week?
Yeah, I know. I mean, if there's a unanimous vote and the liberals don't like it, it's like, how radical is this court, right?
Yeah. It's like, but yeah, a lot of goings on.
Yeah, but I think the thing the Republicans have got to be careful for, because we see some of the backlash is that they have to watch out on the abortion issue. The 12-week ban is one thing. It's the 6-week ban that I think is very problematic politically for them. And when they if they force DeSantis to really go beyond 12 weeks and to go into 6 weeks, I think that becomes too much for a lot of voters, and you could lose a lot that way. So they have to watch that. I mean, you talked about, Dwight, the 2022 election. I mean, that part of the other lesson was that the Democrats, I think, were very effective in taking that abortion issue, and the Dobbs decision, and working it to their advantage.
Yeah. And I tell you what, we need. Here's the thing. Okay. At the end of the day, I think we had this conversation at lunch today. Also about, okay, I remember when I was at GW, and they did the clubs were out on there with the CR table and so on, and then you have these back then I think it was just gay, lesbian, straight alliance or something like that. They were like, it was not. They didn't have the T. They didn't have the other letters after. It was just the L and the G and the.
Yeah, what? And I didn't hear anything about transgendered when I was in college. That was before.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just the LGB and T and straight. LGBT
Right.
straight alliance is what they were.
Yeah. These other letters: the Q, the I, the A, and now the plus. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are they gonna have the irregulars? Are they gonna category for irregulars? Like, there's a funny episode of Everybody Loves Raymond where his brother's character, played by a really funny actor and comedian. I want to say Leif Garrett, but it was not Leif Garrett. It sounds like that. What's the guy's name? Robert Perron. Everyone knows who plays him. But there's where he is talking is how he takes his good and plenties and separates them between the goods and the plenties, and because they're stuck in a snowstorm, and like Ray's wife is talking about how she thinks how the mother accuses her of thinking that she's better than them. And then Ray's proving the point that how can you not think you're better than us? And then he tells him, but his brother's talking about that. And then he goes, and then what's the other category of? He goes, irregulars, for the good and plenties that are rounded in size. But when are they going to have the irregulars? By the way, this whole go woke stuff is really, really not working out well for them. When coming up with when they celebrate one of the 7 deadly sins, Pride, in June, why do they have to call it Pride Month? It is one of the 7 deadly sins. Could they not? Why can't they just call it, Gay Appreciation, Gay History Month, or whatever?
Yeah.
Why can't they just call it that? I mean, do they have to pick a 7 deadly sin? But I'd like to know if that's the case. When do we celebrate gluttony as?
Yeah.
Oh, that might be November, Thanksgiving.
But I guess we do celebrate gluttony with Restaurant Week.
True. Although, local story here, Wheaton canceled restaurant. We Taste of Wheaton again for the second year in a row. I wonder why.
Yeah, that one was unusual because they had some issue, but they didn't tell us what the issue was. And
I
that's
think the issue was the shootings at the Wheaton Metro a couple weeks ago. Well,
yeah,
what
yeah.
do I say? Safety. That I think that's probably what it is. They don't want to. They dare not say, but yeah.
Yeah, and actually, that's a good point because I mean, this is and I think about that. I think about that. That last deadly shooting. I'm like, boy, Wheaton has changed so much from the time I grew up in that area. Just there are places now I don't want to go. I haven't been there in several years, and I don't want to go there at all because it's just the whole makeup of the community has changed. I mean, why would I want to go to Wheaton Plaza?
Well, Costco's. That's why. That's the
Yeah, I
only
mean, that's
reason you
it. I
go.
mean, for those that live down there,
Costco's.
that's about the only draw at this point. But
I mean,
it's
the
almost
Woodward
like
and
you're
Lothrop
risking
is
your life
gone.
now to do this.
I mean, the Woodward and Lothrop is gone. There's no Woodies for people to go to. Did they have a Garfinkel's in Wheaton Plaza? I think they may have had a Garfinkel's.
No, there was one. No, there wasn't the Garfinkels there. I mean, it was basically Hex
They
and
had another
Woody's.
snobby store.
Where the Costco is, where the old Montgomery Wards was. Woody's
No, Target is where the Montgomery Ward was. There was a Heck company where the Costco's was.
Oh, is that how they arranged it? The Heck Company and Costco, and
Yeah.
said, okay, the Target's there. Okay.
And over where Macy's is, there was the Orange Bowl, some of the best pizza.
Oh yeah.
Orange Bowl, yeah.
We had that here.
Was there. Farrell's was on that side. And then when Macy's said, we're coming, they basically opened up and added another wing where the Macy's went. And then there was, I mean, the Woody's had a really nice, and we talked about this last week. Woody's had a really nice restaurant on the top floor. You had the Tongue Board, which was really a nice restaurant. They had a movie theater that was really nice there that people would always go. There'd be lines there. You had the eatery was really good. They didn't have eateries. They had little restaurants and stuff like that around there. You had the Farrell's.
Wheaton Plaza was, when it opened, it was an open air.
Yeah.
Mall, but they didn't close it for a long, long time. So.
It was 1982 or 83 is when they did that because I remember all of us.
Yeah, so you had to brave the elements if you wanted to go to Wheaton Plaza.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're coming back to that. If you look at all these new, like in Florida, there's this place called the Avenues of Vieira, which is kind of like the Avenues in Towson. It's an open air mall, and I'm like, yeah, this works great in Florida. I mean, they've got that in Towson.
California has at least they used to have a lot of those open air malls. That was
and a lot of them are dead malls now too.
Well, I'm sure they are. I do kind of miss the old Wheaton Plaza though because I spent a lot of time with my parents at Hot Shops and
the Hot Shops that was there too. Yeah.
Yep. Ate a lot of lemon meringue pie and strawberry shortcake.
Did you know that Marriott owned the Hot Shops?
Oh yeah.
I never knew that.
Well, Marriott started. He started with an A&W root beer stand.
Yeah,
and grew the whole business.
I remember back when I remember back when I was in high school. That's when I heard Marriott owns Hot Shops. I'm like, really? I did not know that. But Hot Shops, I don't know why they should have kept them. Frankly, they should have shut the Roy Rogers.
I mean, it's like everything else. Time marches on, and they look at the restaurant business, and they said, we don't want to be in that because they owned Roy Rogers for a long time too before they dug
and Hardee's, right?
So.
And didn't they also own Hardee's too? Because Bob's Big Boys.
Hardee's, no.
Bob's Big Boys.
Bob's Big Boy.
Because New York, New Jersey Turnpike had because the New York, New Jersey Turnpike had Big Boys and Roy Rogers because Marriott owned the concessions there. While I would say the New York, New Jersey Turnpike, while the New York Turnpike, Howard Johnson had the concessions there, so you saw the Howard Johnson's restaurants there.
I do kind of miss Big Boy. I mean, it was just a throwback. It was just.
Yeah, then it became Shoney's, and Shoney's just horrible.
Yeah.
And over by Goddard, there was a Huddle House, which Bats, our former producer, would always speak so highly of. So one day we went there for lunch. Oh, boy. It was like we ordered our food. I think an hour and a half later, the food finally came. And then there was another guy, so servant. He goes, yeah, we all went there. Then we forgot that we had ordered food. That's how long it took him to bring the food.
I think they should put a Waffle House in Montgomery County just for the heck of having a Waffle House.
They
Oh, that's
should.
great. Yeah.
There's a Cracker Barrel's coming into Indianapolis.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Yeah, Cracker Barrels. They're coming out. They're going to be over by the mall, over where the old Fuddruckers used to be.
So is Wheaton?
And,
Fuddruckers, man, they pretty much disappeared from here, didn't
well,
they?
you know what the problem with Fuddruckers was? Okay, they didn't have pizza as an offering. That's what
It was a hamburger place, okay?
they serve pizza. Look, TGI Fridays, right? They were a great place when they served pizza. I loved that place. They got rid of the pizza. The food sucks. I mean, and then the food slowly got really bad. You know.
Yeah, but Fuddruckers was famous for their burgers, so I guess they figured they'd
And
focus
they
on that.
didn't they have like a big fixins bar kind of thing? You could put all kinds of stuff on your burger. You basically get the burger and just throw all kinds
I
of
mean,
stuff.
Red Robin's is also technically a burger place, but they serve pizza. They brought
they're
pizza
good.
in.
Yeah, Red Robin is much. I mean, they kind of build themselves as they start with their burgers, but they serve everything pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ruby Tuesdays was horrible from day one. I don't know why anybody would go there. I fell a victim to their advertising once, and I go, let's give it a try. So, because there's a Ruby Tuesdays right by Cotter, which I'm surprised they have not shut down during the pandemic.
I went to the Ruby Tuesdays, I think, with my son once, from a birthday promotion, and never went back.
Yeah. Remember, we went there once from the old AIM days. We went all the way to Rockville. I think we were at CompUSA. So it's not like we drove all the way up to Rockville.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah, because it was one in that shopping center that later on became
Chewy's.
Chewy's.
Now Chewy's is gone. Chewy's is
and
great.
And they're gone.
I don't know why they went like overnight.
I think there's a couple in Virginia. I think we got a couple.
Are they open?
I think
Chewy's
so.
in Virginia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Chewy's in Montgomery. Was that the Chewy's? Was that the one that moved from up by Gaithersburg and then moved down to Rockville Pike?
I don't know, but the one in Annapolis closed too.
There was one up in right on Gaithersburg, but that's been gone for years too.
Well, the one in Annapolis, I remember we were up there. We were there for the convention, and then it was open Friday night. Saturday, we decided we'd go there for lunch. It was closed. People were waiting outside to get their paychecks and all that. It's kind of like what's that restaurant in DC that just shut down, the Rabbit's Foot or whatever, because of. And I'll just say this,
Are you talking about that one in the hotel thing that they?
Yeah. I think
it was run by that Vietnamese guy or something like that.
Yeah, and
but that was part of that. I mean, I don't think that was that story was something along the lines of they just decided they shut that down suddenly, but the employees were they were looking to unionize or something.
Yeah, and you know something? I say good on the restaurant. Let me tell you something. It's kind of like go make bricks without any slaves now. It's like they think they have it over on the businessman. You work at the will of the business. You don't get to bully the employer with your union thuggery, frankly. And from what I understood, they were paid well. They were taken care of by management. But they just want to unionize because SEIU has to get their hooks into everything, Service Employees International,
Well, I mean, all these places, I mean, that have been trying to. I mean, we've had some Starbucks, and we had the.
Right. I only go to Starbucks now because they brought the hammer down on unionization attempts. And I just love that. I think that is nothing short of a great thing when you see corporations striking back. It kind of reminds me of the old Reagan days when Reagan fired all the air traffic controllers.
Yeah, in fact, along those lines, I picked up Howard Schultz's book. Howard Schultz was the Starbucks guy and founder. And I haven't really started it, but I picked up his book in part because he said a few sensible conservative things the other day. I forgot what it was, but he was saying a few sensible things.
That's you, huh?
I think he's even said they're pulling out a lot of these major cities. They're pulling out of because they
pulled out of Seattle. I mean, they pulled out of downtown Seattle because of rioters.
Yeah, I mean, why even? How can they? Not just Starbucks, but like Targets or grocery stores or appliance stores. I mean, if they're going to get robbed, and nothing the city's going to do if it's under a certain amount of money, then why even be there?
Or you do these woke practices like
What's the
Target, and
deal?
you lose even more. You lose money there, and you lose money to shoplifters. I tell you, something needs to be done to reverse this trend. Otherwise, we're all, it's going to be this.
Yeah.
It's going to be where it's going to be kind of like East Germany, where you can only shop at the one store, and you got to pay whatever prices they have. While the wealthy can do stuff online, order online, have stuff delivered to home, and stuff like that. And that's the road we're headed down with the policies of the Biden administration, frankly.
And
Well,
I feel sorry. I feel sorry for the workers in the cities, and a lot of the innocent people in the cities just want to live a peaceful life. And they got the woke government. They got the mob that the government's afraid of or doesn't want to
I
stop.
mean, yeah. I mean, we all worked in D.C. Don, I worked for you in '96 in the glory days of Marion Barry, right? And I remember Free Congress. We were told not to fill up for gas over at the after dark at that gas station up the road,
Oh,
no
really?
matter how low your gas tank is.
Oh, wow.
As
I
the
remember
guy
that.
that hired the guy that hired me and left after 2 days goes, "You bet. Make sure your tank is at least half full when you get here. You do not want to stop for gas at the corner after dark. Just
you
keep
talking
going."
about the Exxon station that was up the
Yes,
street?
that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
remember
Exxon
that.
station right there.
I remember
And
that.
now look at the place. It's like you don't even hardly recognize the place. You feel safe walking down there. What used to. Now it's
Yeah.
probably back.
Yeah, but you're talking about theft and all these things. I mean, so you have a lot of these inner cities areas. I mean, DC can be included in the mix where they tried for years to get companies to come in and set up shop, Walmarts and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them did. They were given there was enough incentive. They thought,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna go and try to, be good corporate citizens and go in there, and then they lose money
Mm-hmm.
because of shrink theft, this kind of stuff like that,
And they
and then they
wonder
pull
why.
out,
Yeah.
and the politicians are like, oh, but why are you doing this? You got, why are you pulling out? It's like, look, you know, there's they're not in business to just subsidize
Yeah.
these inner city stores and do that. I mean, I was just looking at the Wall Street Journal today from I guess a couple of days ago,
Mm-hmm.
and we're kind of near the end of earnings season now, and I guess Dollar Tree had reported their earnings, but they also had told analysts that they saw in the last quarter an increasing amount of shrink or in essence theft from the stores. I mean the store has items at $1 and $1.25 and maybe a little bit more. It's like people are robbing, they're taking the little junky stuff out of Dollar Tree. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, the $1.25, if that keeps up, the $1.25 is going to be $1.50 or more.
Hey, what would has the $5 store instead of the $5 store? Are they like the $6 store now? What is the 1 2? What is it 1 2? Was it 135? Is that what the price point is at that store?
But you've got what is it? Is it Family Dollar General or
No, no,
whatever?
no. It's
You know,
another store. It's like
they never, one of them never said that they were going to sell stuff for just $1. They have things at all different price points.
no, but it's like it used to be over. It's now over by where the Aldi's is on Rockville Pike. It's the $1, $3, and $5. That's the store. I think it's called that. And it's like everything's either $1, $2, or $3
Well,
or
there's a
$5.
store there's a chain called Five Below,
That's
where
it.
where
That's it.
everything is sold for five. But
That's the name.
after inflation, that's pretty hard.
Yeah.
I know. It's like,
Yeah.
it's kind of. I tell you, I went. Let me tell you, I was at the Safeway today, and do you remember those rocket popsicles? They're like red, white, and blue. They come out.
Right.
Yeah.
Guess how much they cost for a box now?
Mm.
They just take a wild guess.
$10.
Not that high. Not quite
Yeah,
that.
I would have said $5 or $6 for a box.
There you go. Because that's it. $4.99.
Hmm.
$4.99 for water, colored water. I could freeze this Blue
Yeah, I
Mountain
mean,
too.
the thing about popsicles is that they're supposed to be cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember getting these like at the what do you call it, at the highs for like 20 cents or 30
Yeah, I
cents.
mean, when I was a kid, I mean, we'd go to the 7-Eleven or the Highs or whatever, and we'd buy popsicles for really
Yeah.
cheap, or when the ice cream truck came around, you'd buy stuff really really cheap.
Remember, you could buy those flavor ice individuals, and it'd be like, I think, almost like I guess, a foot long, or actually probably more like 18 inches or something like that, for like 10 cents.
Right? Yeah.
And they came in like, they didn't add blue till much later. The color used to be like green, orange, purple, and red. Uh, but those things were 10 cents each. And now I need to go find a set. Actually, does 7-Eleven sell individual ice creams like how Highs does? Highs did, I should say. Although they still have Highs around in
Do they?
Atlas.
Do they
Yeah.
sell pies?
Yeah, they sell, like, even on the Eastern Shore, you can find a Highs.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
there's there's a Highs as you go to Ellicott City.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there is one there, yeah. There's also one somewhere in Howard County near Columbia where if you go around, like take some back roads, there's a Highs gas station there. Um, and the prices are relatively low. The gas prices are relatively low at Highs. Don't let the name fool you. Highs is just in their name.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Highs. You can send a check to us for that free commercial we did. But they also had, Highs also had really good ice cream too. I mean, and I'm an ice cream connoisseur,
Well, I mean, it was milk,
but not as good as Breyers.
It was High's Dairy Store. I mean, that was the name. In essence.
Mhm. But I think growing up, even Seal Test, I think it was Seal Test Dairy. They also had, they also made a nice.
Yeah, boy, I remember Seal Test. Yeah,
They had their own ice cream, and it was pretty good ice cream. I remember their milk gallons came with metal caps. Like I know,
look, and those were the days when the ice cream was really ice cream. Today's
Yeah.
ice cream is not necessarily ice cream, or you see things that are packaged that look like ice cream, and it says frozen, like dessert.
yes.
So you think it's ice cream, but it's really not ice cream. It doesn't actually qualify to be labeled as ice cream.
Well, even milkshakes at McDonald's are not really milk.
Oh yeah,
not,
no, I mean, I think
a
there's
Shamrock Shake is not really. That's why they call it a shake and not.
that's
a
why they call them
milkshake.
shakes, right? I mean, you need to meet a certain standard to call it a milkshake. Otherwise, you're in violation, I think, of the rules. But it hasn't.
Although
it doesn't prevent some places from saying milkshake, and then you're like, I'm not sure it's really the milkshake. I mean, I remember getting milkshakes
Chick-fil-A
from
calls them
Gifford
shakes, but
ice
they actually
cream,
use real milk.
You're saying McDonald's doesn't use real milk? It's not real milk?
I don't know if it's real milk or not.
It's
Anyway,
not,
no,
yeah, it's not like a true dairy product.
Okay.
Chick-fil-A, on the other hand, they actually do use real milk. And for a while, Wendy's, when they were doing their hand-spun shakes and malts, they actually would put real milk and stuff like that in there.
See, so that's what I'm thinking. I miss kind of the old days when I was a kid and we had Gifford's ice cream, and you could get all kinds of ice cream, but they also had milkshakes right on the spot. It was like,
Well, remember, speaking of Wheaton Plaza, do you remember the CVS? Well, it was People's Drugstore back then.
Yep.
David, do you remember People's Drugstore?
I do, yeah. Yep.
That place.
That shows you, if you can remember People's Drugstore and anything else we mentioned like this, that shows your age.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
And
You're right.
People's they had a lunch counter there at People's.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Kmart had a lunch counter. I mean,
You know who else?
Christie's had a lunch counter.
Yeah. Sears also had a little kitchen area where you can go and get popcorn and Sears
Yeah,
Roebuck.
there was stuff in the old days.
Yeah. I want to say Montgomery Ward's did not have that.
I don't remember Ward's having it. I remember the kind of the candy counter in Woody's.
Yeah.
Did Woolworths?
Woolworths was five and
Yes.
dime. They were known for their, yeah.
Okay.
Remember, they're pretty famous. Remember the Woolworth's lunch counter?
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
They're pretty famous for their lunch counters.
The old civil rights days you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, that was-
When Joe Biden was on the other side, could I keep those people off the counters?
Yeah, Joe gets a little bit mixed up in terms of
He
his
forgets what
history
side he was on. I was sitting there at where you were there shoving those people. I mean, he said this in 1972, 73, about he didn't want his kids going to school in the jungle. That was long after the Civil Rights Act had passed. But it's just crazy Joe. Everyone just say he's like that buffoon, he's like that idiot character. He's like I want to say, do you guys remember that show Perfect Strangers?
Yep.
He's kind of like Mr. Gorpley, lovable idiot, Valky's boss. He also was the principal in Growing Pains too. I
You know,
think he was.
when you're talking about Biden, Dwight. I mean, it does occur to me too. It's like this this campaign for him to run for reelection. It's going to be really hard for him
Yeah,
because he's going to actually have to be out there and give these speeches. This is not 2020 hide in your basement and
yeah,
and just avoid people. He's actually going to have to be out there and try to whip up the crowd and get excitement, as well as Kamala. And that's a potential recipe for disaster for the
oh
Democrats. I
yeah,
mean, if you're a campaign manager or strategist for the Democrats, I think you have to be extremely worried about what those two will wind up saying. I mean, Harris, it's hard for her to give a speech where you can understand what the heck she's saying when
yeah.
she doesn't kind of go in this circular motion, the whole word salad type of thing like that. And Joe, I don't know. I just don't know at his
I
age
think KJP is going to move over to the campaign.
campaign.
I think KJP is going to be needed to move over to the campaign because she'll be the only one making sense amongst the three of them.
Well, she'll have to try to look. I just anybody trying to explain the president and the policies. I mean, they're already given a tough task there. But KJP is like they they need to find some place to kind of just pay her a lot of money, but get her out of the limelight.
There you go. Look at him flashing the white power sign right there.
It's okay for Joe.
You know, when President Trump did that, they go, "Oh, he's flashing the white power sign." I'm like, that is the first. I always saw that as the OK sign.
Yeah.
Frankly, I never. I mean, I think I even had teachers in grade school go like that. You know, when and I never knew my teachers flashing.
I mean, can you see what will happen? I mean, whether or not it's Trump with DeSantis or whatever as a Republican nominee, can you see a presidential debate? That how Biden survives a debate with these guys. I mean, I think this is really problematic for them.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, maybe they can cover for him. I don't know. I don't think they could cover for him without the excuse of the pandemic. But
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm just like, yeah, where are you going to hide? We don't have a place for him to hide. I mean, you can't have this thing where he barely has any press conferences and barely faces any questions.
yeah,
You can't do that when you're running as a president of the United States, in a campaign.
he'll be. There'll be a lot of ice cream on that bus, and a lot of B12 injections and whatever else he needs, steroid injections.
but
And that,
that's but I think that's why nominate DeSantis or someone else, because if they stand up, if Biden has to go up against DeSantis or anyone else who's any of the other candidates other than Trump, he gets slaughtered.
Mm-hmm.
In the case of
Yeah.
Trump will just keep talking and probably just annoy people and
right.
there will
Yeah.
be
I
a
mean,
rush. But against
I mean,
DeSantis,
if Trump could control himself,
yeah,
he'd beat the heck out of Joe Biden.
yeah.
He could do it, but Trump doesn't know when to shut up.
Yeah.
Yes, he could beat Joe Biden like a drum.
And that's the thing. Someone pointed out that if you let Joe Biden speak, he's going to have plenty of gaffes. So don't interrupt him.
Right. Let him go.
Yeah,
It's
don't
like,
interrupt
And
him.
and if you're the advisor to Joe Biden, you're like, just follow the teleprompter for the things
Yeah.
that we can control, and then here are your talking points, and let's try to stay within this, and don't go beyond that because you go off the reservation, one iota, and you're in trouble.
Yeah.
or maybe Joe Biden would just go like this when he gets an answer question he doesn't want to answer. He'll cover his ears up.
I do see a lot of confusion, coming up when he's out there on the stump or in a debate. I
I never thought we'd see another Admiral Stockdale type debate, but Admiral Stockdale looks like a rocket scientist compared to Joe Biden. Actually, Admiral Stockdale was actually a brilliant fellow, actually.
Yeah.
Uh, And he made a lot of sense, when he didn't turn his hearing
Yeah,
aid
remember
off.
that debate when he said, "Oh, sorry, I didn't hear the question. My hearing aid wasn't on."
Yeah.
I know he said he turned it off.
Yeah. I guess he
And then when Gore and Quayle are going out, he goes, "This is why I'm running."
Yeah, yeah, that was good.
Remember we
Yeah,
had
it's Joe Biden in his prime is one thing, but Joe Biden past his prime is a completely different thing right now.
Yeah.
yeah. This is like remember
Even when he was compos mentis, he still was a gaff machine.
Right.
And so now,
He has been known forever like that. So
and you know how we have how you have Snoopy and then you have his cousin Dusty, who's like old and frail and all that, comes in from the country from time to time, the Peanuts. Yeah, that's Joe Biden now.
yeah.
Although I shouldn't be insulting cousin Dusty like that. Is that his name, by the way? Snoopy's cousin
I
I'm not
don't
sure.
that
know.
wears a cowboy hat. I think his name's Dusty. Or is that Pigpen's real name, Dusty?
But I think all this indicates that there's no excuse for us to blow this election. But we might, but we shouldn't. And
Look, we're known to do that. We
I
are
know
known to do
this.
that.
You're dealing with a guy who's 35% approval rating. You should slaughter him. It shouldn't even be close. But
Then,
we screwed up.
then again, I think we do crush them with anybody we have, frankly. Whether it be President Trump, whether it be Governor Haley, or Vivek Ramaswamy, or Governor DeSantis, or I think even what do you call it? Vice President Pence will mop the floor with him. Frankly,
Well, yeah. But
I
well, I just think that one thing I admire the Democrats on is that they unify. They can have a pragmatic.
they circle the wagons.
And I'll give you an example. Remember when it looked like Bernie Sanders was going to get the nomination. Obama starts calling people, say, "Got to get rid of this. You got to drop out of the race to guarantee the Biden. We got to pull Biden."
Hey, he was able to afford to buy a house on an island.
Huh?
He was able to buy a house on an island after
Yeah.
that.
Well, they cleared the field, and then they got Biden to avoid Bernie at some point. And I don't want to deny someone the right to run, but at some point, a crowded field is just going to help Trump, and so we've got to kind of get together.
David, that's the difference of Democrats and Republicans. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
every Republican marches to the beat of their own drum.
Yeah, I guess so.
Nobody is going to tell us. I mean, honestly, would I have loved to have seen the fact that we told everyone other than Marco Rubio to run in 2016, or Scott Walker? I kind of not against those smoke-filled rooms of the 1950s that gave us General Eisenhower.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, to keep people like Ron Paul out of the debate. I really don't mind keeping the Ron Paul types out of the debates.
Yeah.
I mean, the Democrats do that. Remember the mayor of Irvine, California? He ran for president in 1992. The Democrats kept him off every one of the debates. The former senator from Alaska who died recently, who ran for president, I want to say last year, maybe the first time I think I saw him on a debate stage, but
what was that? Gravel?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that might be the first time I've seen him on a debate stage, but they've always kept him off. They kept, what was that old woman, her claim to fame was being friends with Oprah? Is that Marianne Williamson?
Marianne Williamson?
Yeah, I think that's her name.
Yeah,
They kept her off. Yeah, they kept her off the stage, And speaking of the Oprah, Senator Oprah? Senator Oprah?
People keep talking about her running. I never understood that. And
do you think this is how she will? And if they made her the minority leader, you think this is how she'll get votes? You get a brand new car. You get a brand new car. You get a brand new car.
Yeah.
Just sign this.
But for someone like Oprah, I mean, what's the appeal there? She's got a great business running and everything like that.
Yeah.
Do you really want at this stage of life, do you really need
And the way I look at it,
being a politician is not very rewarding to somebody who's got that kind of money.
Here's the thing: Oprah has Harpo Studios, right?
Yeah.
Why settle for being a mere senator when you could be a president in a movie?
Mm-hmm.
She could have a movie where she is a senator and then she runs for president and wins and establishes world peace and intergalactic contact with space races and make us a spacefaring society. That would be Oprah's legacy. Because, that'd be nice of her there because she could fire you there. That's one thing I think, what's his name? The former senator from Minnesota learned that not everybody loves you in Washington like when you're in Hollywood. You can't you can't joke your way out of situations.
Al Franken.
Yeah.
I never
look at
understood him. I never understood the appeal.
look at Fred Thompson. By the way, he had a short-lived show on NBC, right around when America's Voice was teetering on collapsing, or maybe right after it collapsed. You know which logo they used? The America's Voice logo with the capital.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I remember that. I think
Bob Sutton sold that to them as the go. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, didn't Franken and Ariana Huffington do something together?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a show.
Remember when Ariana Huffington was a darling of the right?
Yeah, remember her husband? He ran for
California.
He had the money. Yeah, he had the money. I think she got the money from him. He ran for senator or
yeah.
Yeah, when he was running in California, I remember the CRs they were so against it when we were at the California Republican Convention in Burlingame.
Yeah.
They threw like fake dollar bills from the upper floors down onto the main hallway floor because they were just like, oh, he's just going to buy his seat, and they didn't think he was conservative and everything like that, and so it was. These were the days when they actually had some effective college Republicans.
But here's my view is this, okay? If what's his name? If he had been elected senator from California, at least he would have been voting with us. Although now, looking back now, he probably would have switched to become a Democrat at some point. Kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger, which I've warned everybody, don't fall in love with Schwarzenegger. Schwarzenegger is a liberal. Tom McClintock, Bill Simon, Assemblyman Firestone, Assemblyman Bordenaro, they were the real McCoys. Yeah. They should have. One of them should have been the governor of California. Not
Arnold. Yeah, I agree.
Schwarzenegger ruined California for Republicans.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even a good Republican when he was governor there. He was like a joke. I mean, he was like
he was a celebrity. I mean, you'd go to Republican convention in California and people were just fawning all over him, like, but his policies are horrible.
Yeah, it's kind of I think it's kind of starting to infect the Republican Party. Everybody's this hero mentality. Nobody looks at we are still the party of family values. We're still the party of tax cuts. We're still the party of national security. We are not the neo-isolationist party. We are not the party that says, we don't have to care too much about family values. Let Disney do whatever they want to do. Ron DeSantis, why are you bothering Disney? No, we are the party of family values. And this is where we need, and this goes back to the conversation we had at lunch. This is the point we need to draw a line in the sand where you've got the woke mob, and I mean this has been a long time coming, and this is where the line needs to be drawn. You got to say no. You cannot do this. You cannot say I'm pretending to be a woman or I'm pretending to be a man. It's like no, you're not. It's called playing make believe. And if you want to play make believe.
Well, don't bring kids into it. Yeah.
Yeah, and not only that, there's also a place you can go if you want to play make believe. I think they sent John Hinckley there.
Yeah.
It's like it is ridiculous. It's like we're the bad guys for opposing this nonsense. It's like no, we are not wrong on this. We are right. We've been on the right side of history every time. We were against the communists. We were against the Nazis. I mean, if we let the Democrats have their way. The Germans would be all over Europe. We would have, the Soviets would have overrun Western Europe by now. And, because, we got to be nice to the people, No, we've been right. It's been Republican presidents is why we won the Cold War. We didn't win these Cold Wars by backing down, not funding freedom fighters that we did in Angola, Nicaragua, propping up pro-democracy governments like in El Salvador to stand up to and so yes, did we lose Vietnam? We lost the peace in Vietnam. We won the war, and we lost the media here. Basically sided with the communists. Which brings me back to media biases. I tell you, Don, I was watching MSNBC. If you remember back in the days of Walter Cronkite and Mike Wallace at 60 Minutes and Harry Reasoner and those guys, they at least pretended to be unbiased journalists.
Yeah.
While today they're just blatant in your face. They're like, we're just nothing more than a subsidiary of the Democratic Party, which is a subsidiary of the Communist International, frankly.
Yeah.
That is how far the Democrat Party has gone. They are, they've just gone way past the normal pale of existence, so to speak. This is not even your parents' Democrat Party. Forget your grandparents' Democrat Party. This is not even your parents. This is not even Bill Clinton's Democrat Party, frankly.
Yeah, and you know what? Kind of, and I think you'll agree with me on this one. Lenin always referred to them as useful idiots, but what annoys me is these so-called Republicans that play along with the media and pile on at every turn. To a lot of those, they're not conservatives. There's so many that are out there that are not conservatives. They may have once worked for a Republican. They may have once been Republican activists. But
Major Garrett.
You got a whole
People's
bunch
Exhibit A.
Yeah.
No, but Major Garrett didn't work for just any conservatives. He worked for NET.
Yeah.
And that is he would remember the Thomas Committee hearings on Whitewater. He would be there grilling and analyzing, along with Tom Jipping and Marianne Fogelson, the hearings. And now Tom Jipping is now working for CBS, and he's just gone off the reservations. And now I've noticed. I was looking at
Major, not Jipping. You mean Major Garrett?
Major Garrett, yeah.
Not Tom Jipping.
Not Jipping.
No, but Tom Jipping was one of the analysts.
Right,
They would do that with Marianne, and Tom Fitton was the other one. They do the analysis of the hearings.
Yeah, I remember.
And Major now has gone over to the other side. I mean, if you look at his bio, he doesn't even mention working for NET.
Yeah.
Or America's Voice.
Yeah, I never cared for him. But, I mean, a lot of these folks are...
He was a little arrogant, too.
I never cared for him. But a lot of these folks are out there that are, worse than Garrett, though, at least pretended to be Republicans or involved in politics. And then you see them piling on. And then a lot of them are jumping on DeSantis. I don't know why you're jumping on DeSantis. If you don't like Trump, wouldn't he be the answer? But
he is the answer.
Yeah, but they're complaining about him now, and they all pile on. And, yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, we've got plenty of media. I mean, look at how the Post, Jen Rubin, right? I mean, she was a big Romney supporter and fan, did a lot of stuff like that. Supposed to be the conservative blogger for the Post, But when was the last time she wrote anything really complimentary about any Republican or conservative?
Yeah.
But they don't. She still kind of has that label. I don't know. S.E. Cupp, was held up as a bright, upcoming, young conservative at one point in time. But
she spoke at CPAC. She used to speak at CPAC.
Well, the thing that got me was that recently I saw some kind of promo for her on News Nation with Ashley Banfield, and they're like conservative,
Ashley Banfield.
S.E. Cupp has long abandoned conservative, principles.
Yeah.
Ashley Banfield used to be everywhere.
Yeah. So, but I mean, we just have a litany of these people who are still labeled as conservative, and a lot of this is with the liberal media is that they couldn't really find a good conservative to go work for them or do take a contract with them. So you take the ones that had a history.
Well, Dan Abrams claims he's a conservative too on News Nation.
Keep that conservative label on them, and then try to tell the public this is a conservative. But no, I mean it's like MSNBC used to always have Steve Schmidt on. It's like, well, Steve Schmidt
Well, and Michael Steele. Remember Michael Steele?
Yeah, Michael
Yeah, there's
Steele
another
and
guy.
all these people. It's like, no, they're not conservative. I mean,
No.
they may have been Republican or worked for Republicans at one point in time, but they're definitely not in that mode anymore.
And they're
Yeah,
basically tools because they're being
Yeah,
used. The media can bring them on and put their arm around them. See, look, we have Republicans.
right, exactly. Yeah,
So they're
remember
tools.
Mickey? Remember Mickey Edwards,
Yes, I
head
do.
of CPAC?
Yes,
He actually ACU. I shouldn't say not CPAC, ACU. And now
yeah.
he's left the. I mean, he went. Although I feel that it's because he went to Harvard. He went to go teach at Harvard, and that's when he kind of was.
And I will say, I read one of his books, and I thought it was a pretty good book. And he sort of explained some of his transformation, but it's probably nothing like now. But he started to explain a little of it.
Remember David Brock?
Yes,
NET
right.
fame David Brock.
Change, yeah.
David Brock, he basically didn't he write Primary Colors? Was it Primary Colors? What was the book that he wrote on the Clintons?
It was about Hillary, something about Hillary. Remember, he had the thing about Hillary. He was obsessed with her, and he started targeting her. And then, for some reason, they kissed and made up, and then he loved her, and he said nice things about her. So
Yeah, now he runs
I
Media
know what happened.
Matters.
Huh?
Now he runs that sham media watchdog group called Media Matters.
Yeah. There's
He used to
something,
work. There's
there's something weird about that. To, in effect, basically stalk someone and
Oh yeah.
troll them, and then all of a sudden you like them, and you're in
Stockholm syndrome, maybe.
Huh?
Reverse Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, it's just weird. I mean,
Yeah, but
so I don't know what I don't know what she did to get him to like her.
it's called probably either she had blackmail on him, or they paid him off.
Yeah.
And knowing Brock, I bet it was blackmail.
And what
'Cause it
about the
wasn't-
Drudge? What about the Drudge report? Remember the Drudge report?
yeah, Drudge report.
Oh, Matt Drudge, another one.
Is he gone? Did someone else just buy it and he's gone? I never
I
checked
don't know,
it.
but Matt Drudge went to the same high school I went to.
All right.
I used to hold him up as the only conservative out of Tacoma Park, Maryland.
All right. Well, what
Yeah, I
happened
mean,
to
the
him?
Drudge report. Everybody used to just flock to that, right?
Yeah,
now
I
they
used
got-
to check it
yeah.
all the time. But why
Now,
did they?
remember, Drudge Report broke the story. They had the Ken Starr report
Yeah,
before anyone else did.
yeah. Because remember, Isikoff at time. Well, I don't know where he was, but they were sitting on that story, and it was Drudge that blared it out. I remember coming into work at NET, and all of a sudden I started hearing about this story. But it was Drudge, I think, that broke it.
Yeah, so I'm looking this up. It says that in 2019, the Rasmussen reported that the Drudge had sold the site and was no longer involved. But
This is
but
what's
it was
Drudge
not
today.
confirmed. It was one of those things that nobody. I don't know if anybody really knows whether or not he actually sold it, but I guess he's just not part of it one way or the other.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it used to be a
This
great
is-
site. I checked it all the
it's-
time.
Yeah, this is horrible. It's become a tabloid rag, frankly.
You know, the thing about Drudge, and then it was still fairly conservative, is he backed Trump big, as I remember. And so I'd always check in and always be pro-Trump. Well, in the primary in 16, I wasn't backing Trump in the primary and primaries in 16. And so I started going there less and less because it was always very pro-Trump. But then they just went off to liberal land.
I mean, look at Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity was big time. Like Mark Levin got some flack from the Trump people. By the way, Mark Levin really kind of took it to them yesterday. He kind of made some comment, because I think Trump and those guys are against the war in Ukraine. The Trump supporters. He
Yeah.
kind of said, we got to stand up for freedom. This is America,
Yeah.
and so on. And that's that's kind of Mark Levin's always been a stand-up guy.
What turned me off with Hannity is that I just thought of him as, sort of lightweight, but also
Hannity's a nice guy, though. I like Hannity.
Yeah, but
He's
more of a cheerleader. He's on one hand, he was pro-Iraq war and very much with the neocons, although he wouldn't understand what neocon is, but he's very much with them. And then I turn around and he's a big Trump guy, the America First
He's a
guy.
company.
And it's just- weird.
Look, Sean Hannity's a great guy. Look, he's a company man. Okay, he loved Chris Christie.
yeah,
He loved what's his name, Schwarzenegger.
yeah,
He loved Mitt Romney.
yeah.
He loved John McCain.
Yeah.
Because I like that about Sean. I met Sean. He's just like that in real life. I met him in Cleveland at the convention. I go, hey Sean. So we were getting a selfie. And then I see Steve Deuce. I go, oh, I gotta go say hi to Steve. And he goes, where are you going? I go, oh, I just want to say hi to Steve. He spoke at when I was in high school. He spoke at one of I think it was the class of '87 or '86 as graduation commencement. I was down there, and it was '87, and I was the yearbook photographer. So I was down there taking pictures for the yearbook. And I remember the next day, the uproar he caused when he said, "You don't need to learn calculus," because he goes, "My bank only charged me $5 when I bounced a check," you know. And he goes, I never needed to learn calculus. And they're like, all the math teachers, are, oh, how dare he say that, And he remembered that line too, so I go back to Sean, and Sean's like, so you had enough time hanging out with your old buddy Steve? I'm like, he's from DC. He goes, but Sean's a nice guy, really good humored guy. He would be a great politician, actually. Henry for U.S. Senate from New York.
Well, what I hope is, in this election coming up, is that we get a fair fight. I hope that the media doesn't, and I don't know, it depends on the personality, but give every candidate a chance and don't start just rallying behind or circling around Trump and trying to protect him. Let others have a chance and have a real fair fight. I think Levin will be fair. Some of the others I wonder about. Bongino says he'll be fair, but he's a Trump guy.
Okay, we're not going to go down that road.
He's a Trump guy, as he said on the show. And I just want him to be, let's have a fair fight in our primary and not attack other people because we may disagree. We may back a different candidate. So.
But yeah, we're in extra innings. So, but we've got, what do you call, one of our loyal listeners who's in, was saying, hey, what did I miss? And I'm like, wait, we're still in the air. We're in extra innings.
But we're going to wrap it up, right?
Yes, we are. We are wrapping it up. And what do you call it? So she said she didn't get a notice that we were on. I just sent her the link, so she may pop in while we're doing our final thoughts. So, final thoughts. David.
Well, I was in Harrisonburg. I'm sorry I missed last show. I was pushing my book. And one quick little story. Governor Gilmore was there, and I know he's been on your show before.
Yeah.
And he bought my book, and I told him a little about it. And he jokingly said to me, he goes, I hope I'm not the inspiration for the governor in this book. I said, no. You're a great governor. This guy is not a great person. So
did you say it was Chuck Robb? Did you tell him it was Chuck Robb that was your inspiration?
No,
or Jerry Miles?
No, but I hope he reads it. I just, I don't know, a little nervous, but I think he'll get a kick out of it. And
Governor Gilmore is a good guy, like all Virginia governors are good people. Republican Virginia governors, I should say.
Oh, yeah, he was a great governor and a great guy. So
great AG also. A lot of people forget that he was also AG,
Yeah, he was, and very smart, very sharp, and very much into foreign policy. But anyway, I'll keep it brief because I know we're in extra innings, but I'm happy to be back, and I'm looking forward to hopefully a good week with book sales.
Yeah.
That's it.
Don Irvine, final thoughts?
Final thoughts. You mentioned at the top of the show, I think, Memorial Day weekend and everything like this. Sometimes I forget, what I'm supposed to be doing there, and I'll be visiting my parents' grave on Monday and putting up the traditional plastic flowers because you can't put real flowers because the deer will come and eat everything. So, but it's been pretty much an annual tradition. I don't know that we went during the pandemic, but something always to kind of remember. And it's a good weekend to remember those that we've lost, but in particular those that served. And so it's good to see the patriotism that comes out during this weekend as well. Your Orioles magic is not working tonight. It looks like I checked the score. They're getting crushed by the Rangers right now.
They were being crushed by the Yankees the other night too, but we know how that story ended.
Yeah, well, they're down like 9-1 in the fourth. They could still come back. It's still early.
It's funny you should mention it, Don. In 1988, the Phillies are playing the Pirates. The Pirates are up 12 runs in like the second inning, And I remember the picture of the Pittsburgh Pirates. If we lose this, I'll walk back to Pittsburgh.
Mm.
And the Phillies came back
Mm.
and won like 16-13 or something like that. That was the craziest game in baseball. That was back when they had Thursday Night Baseball on ABC.
Mm.
And that was the year the Phillies weren't doing so well. So a lot of people were like, hey, it's a wash. But I tell you, the bats came alive in the sixth inning, and they just clobbered the Pirates. And they even, what is it? I don't want to say Coors or Bud. I think it was Coors. Maybe Budweiser. But they did a commercial, the picture where he actually said how he walked back. And he got sponsors. Like he was, and he did do the walk, and he did that for some research, medical research, or something like that. But good on. I can't think of the guy's name, but I'm sure one of our viewers will probably remember who the pitcher was.
That's what I love about baseball, though, is that you can be down, but if you don't give up, if you keep doing, going, it's that you still have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the Orioles have a chance. We'll see what the final score winds up
Who are they
being.
playing tonight?
They're playing the Rangers, who have been very good this year.
Yeah.
The old Washington Senators.
Yeah. They did beat they did sweep the Yankees, I believe. It's kind of suck to be the Yankees this right now.
They're playing well. I mean, it's going to be it's quite a divisional race this year for them.
I tell you, this couldn't be. It could happen to a nicer team, the Yankees.
Yeah.
The problem for the Orioles is that they don't have any of their big stars signed beyond this year.
Yeah, I know.
I think only 3 players have actually got a contract for 2024 right now, and there's no indication that the Angelos, are going to sign, some of.
He needs to open up that checkbook of his. What's he sitting on all that money from the tobacco settlement he made?
Yeah, no, I mean what are the fans going to think if they just let Adley Rutschman go or Cedric Mullins if they don't re-sign them? Mm. But the thing is that they waited so long, they're so cheap that they could have signed these guys a year ago for a lot less money than they're going to have to pay if they want to keep them around.
Yeah, I know.
So it's but they make money. Even if they'll still make money. They would lose their stars. They could go back to their losing ways, but they can be like the Oakland A's. You can be a terrible team.
The Orioles are one of the more profitable
teams. Thanks to broadcast rights and everything like that. And if you keep your payroll low, you still make money.
Yeah, I mean the Orioles are actually one of the more profitable. Even back in, I want to say, was it 74 when they were like really, really bad, or was it 70? Was it 68?
They've been making money for years. They make money. They made money, even when they won like 60 games.
Yeah, this would have been the year the Cleveland Indians were really good, and they were like unbelievably good. And I remember reading an article about this in a book. But that year the most profitable team in baseball was the Baltimore Orioles. Like somebody asked some investor, like, how do you like who do you like in baseball? He goes, I love the Orioles, and the guy goes, they're like 50 games under 500 or something like that, or some large number. He goes, yeah, but they are the most profitable team. If I'm going to invest in a team, I'm going to invest in the Orioles because they make money.
Yeah, I mean, if you could publicly invest in baseball teams, for example, you can get a piece of the Braves through Liberty stock. They have a Liberty Braves tracking stock, and you can do that. But it's pretty rare that a major sports team is available in any capacity on the stock market. But if you could, you'll probably make money over time because with thanks to all this money that these.
Peter, let's do an IPO. Let's do an Orioles IPO.
They mint money.
Yes, they do.
But I mean, you can buy shares in Green Bay Packers, but all it is just so that you can say I own a piece of the Green Bay Packers, but it gives you zero rights to anything. Yeah. That type of thing like that.
I think if Peter Angelos took the Orioles public, like did an IPO in essence of the Orioles, that'd be great.
Yeah, but there's really no need for that because the family controls it. When you put public stock out there, you're diluting your holdings. So they don't want to do that. All this ownership stuff,
it makes
these are multimillionaires and billionaires that are playing with this money.
Yeah, and to them, See, that's why. What is it? Rush Limbaugh always say. You don't want to be the ball player. You want to be the guy that owns the team.
Mm.
You think the ball player is making money? Just think how much money the owner's making if he's paying these multi-million-dollar contracts to the quarterbacks. You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, look, I mean, even the teams that have been, like, I mean, the Mets will be profitable, and the Padres will be profitable, but their payrolls are sky high, and then because of that, they're also paying a luxury tax because
Yeah.
they're over the threshold, but it doesn't matter to them. I mean, they're still gonna, they're just trying to put a product on the field and they're going to attract
Exactly.
attention. So anyway,
Yeah.
um, I just brief commentary on all this pride stuff that you mentioned earlier. I mean, so we've seen that it definitely has hurt, Anheuser-Busch and Budweiser, and they're trying to find a way to dig out from that whole transgender mess. And then the eruption with Target and the whole pride thing.
Now North Face has also got into
Yeah,
that too.
North Face too. But I was interesting because I saw an article in Fox News about how Target, I guess, reiterated their stance of their relationship with Glisten, and I'm like, heaven's sakes, Pete LaBarbera and I, we attended Glisten meetings decades ago, when there was GLSTEN, which was the
Yeah.
teacher. Instead of they changed it from teacher network to education network,
Uh-huh.
and we added all those extra letters in between that we talked about earlier. But back then when Glisten was young, it was all about indoctrination and all the propaganda about turning young children into that's making them think
Oh
that
yeah.
maybe they were gay and all this stuff like that. So they've been working at this for a long time, and it's an abomination to me to have corporations like Target out there, selling, goods that are aligning that benefit any of these groups whatsoever. Um, I don't agree that people should go in there and rip up the displays or whatnot. That's not the way to do it. But I was thinking about reapplying. We used to have a Target red card years ago and didn't use it, so they closed. The bank closed the account. And I was thinking, like, maybe I ought to open up an account because it's a 5% discount. We don't even go shopping there very often. But I was like, forget that. It's like I don't need to shop at Target. At this point, I will never. I will not. I'll make a point to make sure I don't shop at Target for anything, and that
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell my grandkids is that the gift cards you get for whatever are going to come from Walmart or someplace else. They're not going to come from Target anymore.
Well, did you
Yeah.
hear Anheuser-Busch is thinking of changing their name to Anheuser-Busch? Just a joke.
Well, they changed
And I love the pictures we're seeing where you've got these things, where I mean, they can't sell the bud, right? Nobody wants to
They
buy
can't
the
give it
bud.
away.
Yeah, I mean, and they're paying they're giving money to the distributors,
But I tell you,
special bonuses and stuff like that to help make up for the lost revenue and all the harassment they've had after they went in there. Yeah,
Yeah,
what,
well, go and use up those gift cards right away, and then don't do it again.
yeah. Use the gift card. Don't let those go to waste.
or
Yeah,
you
don't
can
learn how
use
to
those
waste.
on. You
That
can
is
also
paid
use
for.
those online. Target online, which is technically they always all those online places are like technically different, separate entities than the retail stores. But they still let you do the returns at the stores. But
Well, they used to do more of that before, and then they kind of realized that once they got a handle of it, that they how to do it. I mean, I think Target, online fulfillment, I think they bought Shipped so they could improve, they could get the expertise on how to ship online and stuff like that. And they expanded that to where like CVS uses Ship to send out their prescriptions and stuff like that. So, these companies have come around and said, okay, this is how we're going to do it. We bought some of these companies to get the know-how so that we can now incorporate it and don't have to actually contract it out or whatever. Yeah, I'd love to
yeah,
dog. I actually shoot. I'm trying to think. I bet you somewhere in my house I still have the Target dog mascot thing that Debbie bought from my father
Hmm.
because it had like the whole bullseye thing on there.
yeah, they ripped off the AIM logo. I
Yeah,
remember.
I know. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Some
Years ago when I was
you
working for you, I
you'd
went.
wear an AIM logoed shirt into Target, and people wouldn't read the AIM thing, and they just see the target and they think you work for them or something.
No, I tell you, what's funny is, especially the red AIM shirts, because remember that
Right,
used to be.
exactly.
But the Target lapel pin, right?
Right.
Not the Target, the AIM lapel pin. I walked into a Target with a jacket on. I had the AIM pin. This, I think I was probably going to one of the AIM conferences. That's why I had the pin on, right? And somebody comes up to me, "Are you a manager?" I'm like, "For what?" Or my favorite one was, if you remember back when we went to lunch once we went there, Cheesecake Factory over in Friendship Heights. We all went to the Sam Goodies, and some woman there, it was Jeff, Matt, and I, and she's looking at us thinking Jeff's trying to help her, right? And she thinks Jeff works there, right? She goes, she kind of got mad at Jeff, do you work here? And or are you just here for the fun of it? And he goes, I'm just trying to be helpful, and she went off on Jeff for trying to help her because she thought he was actually an employee of Sam Goodies.
That happens, I think, from time to time. And my final commentary is still based on the other thing too, a little bit. So I think we talked last week or the last couple of weeks when the Dodgers said that they had disinvited this Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence to parody this terrible group of nuns, right? And now, after some backlash, they've caved into the LGBTQ community and invited them back.
Yeah.
But at least, so the Dodgers, looks like the Dodgers' other response to this, because I saw it on Twitter, was that Clayton Kershaw, their star pitcher, on Twitter said that he was proud to announce that they were going to have the return of Faith and Family Day to the Dodger Stadium on July 30th. They hadn't held that for 4 years, right?
Oh, they're doing it on July 30th. They're celebrating my birthday with Faith and Family.
So
That's great.
So it's kind of like, oh well, we haven't done this for a while, and now we've taken this big hit with all this gay stuff we do. So let's go ahead, let's go and do this whole Christian thing, see if we can't get some goodwill back. But I'm glad the Dodgers are doing it, but I mean, should have been already part of the process well before all this other gay garbage came into effect.
I know. It's like, and we had this conversation about how, we moved the goalpost from here to here to here to here to here, and now we're back against the wall here, frankly. It's like, we got to draw the line, frankly. It's just pervasion. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But.
All right. That's it for me.
Okay, my final thoughts. A couple things. Orioles Magic. How about those Yankees? How are those Yankees doing? Yankees fans, I know. And it was great. The Orioles swept you. It's awesome seeing the Yankees lose. I got a friend of mine who's a big Red Sox fan, and the Red Sox aren't doing much better than the Yankees, but we do enjoy it every time we see the Yankees lose. It's always a good day for an Orioles fan.
It's 10-1 now.
Okay. They're entitled to an off night. That's fine.
It's all right. I mean, look, it's a 162 game season. They're doing great.
Exactly. We've got more wins than the Nats have losses.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, I know you keep harping on this, but I'm going to just remind, no one expected the Nationals to win that many games. I mean,
nobody expected the Orioles to do this well either.
Well, I mean, the Orioles are definitely overperforming. I thought they'd slip a little bit after last year, but they're doing fabulous.
I know. Let's see if this kid can hold it up to All-Star break. We got the All-Star break coming up in June.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got almost a third of the season through, so we shall see.
Mm-hmm. Can they keep this running, and can they catch the Rays?
Yeah, and look, I mean, they're only like 3 or 4 games back. Their Rays are.
And by the way,
they got matched the other night by Toronto 20-1. So,
and as an Orioles fan, I'll tell you this: if they lose every single game from here on out, I'll be just fine. You know why? Because I didn't expect them to do this well, and I'm just happy that they've done this well.
I'm like I said before, though. So just watch out. This could be the last hurrah for this group of players because
I know
Angelos is if they don't open up the checkbook. Which is a pretty
what a cheapskate. What a cheapskate he is.
Be ready to see a team next year that wins 50 games.
Yeah. What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do with what do you call all the tobacco money that he got from Philip Morris and RJR?
Just
Hmm.
bank it. It's
I
all
was
about
like,
the money.
how about you open up the damn checkbook? How about you lobby the state to name Cal Ripken's bat the official state bat? You know, why don't you do something productive with your money? Like
Well,
buy us a winning baseball team.
Right. I mean, the thing is that I think if the Orioles wind up winning,
It's not going to
say,
take a lot of money from. It's going to take money, but not a whole lot. We're not talking Yankees payroll. It's not
yeah,
going to
no,
take.
I mean, say the Orioles wind up winning 90 games this year and going to the playoffs. If Angeloses don't do something to retain their core players, it
Uh-huh.
will definitely show the fans in Baltimore that the Angeloses have no concern for the fans at all, and actually
Yeah.
building a product that can build a championship team potential out of it.
Yeah.
That this is all about what makes us the most money in the long
Mm-hmm.
run. If it means
Yeah.
letting all these players go,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can run a low payroll, then you just know where they
Yeah.
stand, and that's when the other owner should say enough is enough and find a way to force bad owners out. I mean,
And
the
speaking of,
NFL kind of did that with Daniel Snyder. So
and
yeah.
now it's funny. That was my second point. I just want to let the Redskins fans or what? Are they, oh, the Commanders. That's what they're called now, not the Redskins.
well, they didn't get their trademark. They have to go back and figure out a way to get that trademark approved. Pretty
But
funny.
all the fans who are like so happy to see Dan Snyder go. Got news for you guys. Dan Snyder is not why you were losing all those games. I hate to say it wasn't Dan Snyder. Dan
Well,
Snyder.
I beg to disagree at least somewhat. I mean, Snyder was a terrible owner. I mean, he interfered
Yeah.
too much with a lot of the
Well,
decisions that were
so
made.
did Jerry Jones.
You know, yeah, Jerry Jones is just Jerry Jones. I mean,
Steinbrenner used to people accuse Steinbrenner of interfering with the Yankees, and look how many.
but at least I mean, if you compare the Redskins and the Cowboys, as much as I can't stand Jerry Jones, at least the Cowboys have outperformed on the field overall record wise. The
Yeah,
Redskins, and I'm going to say the Redskins by a wide margin, but
Yeah.
you know, but but Washington they've had terrible GMs too. That
yeah,
for a number of years they've made so many terrible player decisions.
yeah, and they
And
got rid of their good GM they had in Bruce Allen. They showed him the road a few years ago.
yeah, Bruce, I don't know. I mean, I had higher hopes for him than one. I think part of my problem is I'm still stuck in the Bobby Beathard era.
Oh yeah, he was good.
It was
The
yeah,
problem is Dan Schneider acted as the GM and he knew nothing about football. But for
yeah,
several years, he was the GM.
right, yeah. I mean, you could have a GM, but he was really the GM.
Well,
Yeah,
here's the
It
thing:
was,
Dan
it was
Snyder,
yeah,
Dan
yeah,
Snyder, and I can relate. He was the science kid growing up. He never played football. He
yeah,
was the science kid. He knew science. He knew how to make money. And now
yeah.
it's kind of like he feels like he's playing. What was that Atari football game? Or maybe he thinks he's playing. Because his
Fantasy
age probably
football,
would have been yeah.
like fantasy
Uh,
football.
yeah, that's what he thought he's doing with the Redskins. Oh, yeah, and I got all this money. I got piles and piles of money. Let me go get Deion Sanders. Let me go get so and so.
Albert Hainsworth and all
Yeah,
these people. I was like,
yeah.
oh, God.
Josh Norman didn't work out like they thought he was going to in the long run, and yeah, that
Yeah,
just that Hainsworth thing. I mean,
yeah,
didn't they sign Dana Stubblefield?
yeah,
Last year?
yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
like those guys were great in their prime, but by the time
yeah,
we got them,
yeah,
they were already what
Well,
was
remember, and
yeah,
also look at the coaches.
yeah.
Marty Schottenheimer.
Who he
Mind
fired
you, what?
after one season, and they started winning under Schottenheimer that second half, but he
Yeah.
got rid of them.
And then he got rid of
look at all the people they had on their staff that have become successful coaches in the NFL.
Norv
Yeah,
Turner's another one that
yeah.
they got rid of.
Shanahan,
And Marvin
Shanahan.
Lewis. Marvin
yeah,
Yeah,
Lewis, remember, was a
Marvin
defensive.
Lewis was great.
Right.
Yeah,
and then you had who was the guy from North Carolina? The name slips on my mind. He was the football coach in North Carolina. That's who Dan Snyder really wanted.
Well, I don't know. He had
I was
Spurrier
gonna
for a
say.
couple of years.
Yes,
South
that's the
Carolina.
guy.
the
Yeah,
ball
South
coach.
Carolina.
The ball coach.
That was not a good fit.
No.
Yeah.
I think Spurrier could have made it, but what he needed was a real GM to help because Spurrier started picking the players, and so
Yeah,
he would pick players who played with him in
Well,
Florida.
well, well, Joe Biden wanted to hire coach from the Coach TV show to coach the Redskins. because he took the Orlando Breakers from nothing to the Super Bowl, and he did it in three seasons.
Yeah.
And he wanted Jerry Van Dyke's brother, who was the GM.
No.
All right, Dwight. I think we have really
Okay.
digressed.
Yes. Okay. Now, my last final thought is Red, White, and Blue Dinner is coming up June 17th. And it is the start of Ocean City season. So, enjoy everyone. As Governor Ehrlich used to say, go early, stay late. So that way you're not stuck on the Bay Bridge. And if you want to avoid the Bay Bridge, go up through Delaware, come down, stop off at Dover Downs, get some food. If you want to play cards, you can do that. And then just go down to Ocean City. No traffic. Easy way to get to Ocean City. Or if you want to go over the Bay Bridge, that's fine too. But we need more Bay. And by the way, you know who you thank when you go over the Bay Bridge? You know who you thank, Don?
What do we think?
Governor Agnew. He built that second span there. Governor Agnew. If it weren't for Governor Agnew, we have no second span.
It wasn't Tidings.
No. It was not Joe Tidings. No. And I believe Tidings was a Democrat.
Yeah.
And he was the senator.
Yeah.
And he's got a bridge named for him somewhere in Maryland, too. I'm trying to think where. I think it's Haverty Grace or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, good night, everyone. See everyone next week.
All right. Good night.
See you then.
Good night.